folks, in Busan, new leaders are chosen to take the WCC into the future. I am Angelique Walker-Smith, and this is Madang Live. We are coming to you from the Madang Hall here in the WCC Center. In our show today, we bring you all the latest as voting continues for new leaders of the WCC. We visit some of the workshops at the Assembly. We show you what a WCC partner does to preserve the environment. And we hear from the General Secretary of the World Council of Churches. But first, the news. After some discussions, the delegates to the World Council of Churches Assembly accepted the nominations of 8 new presidents. Kimberly Ivany was inside the business hall just before the voting began.
There was a buzz inside WCC last night. This was the scene as the election process at the World Council of Churches Assembly got underway. So as you can see here in the business plenary hall in the WCC Center, many delegates are already making their way inside. It's a big night here at the Assembly as a new Central Committee will be decided by the time this meeting is over. That's not all. 8 new presidents will also be chosen, as well as a new moderator. This new team will lead the WCC until the next Assembly 7 years down the road.
Their election has a very important symbolic character. One may push it even forward, say there is one generation that is outgoing and another generation that is incoming.
Not everyone here at the Assembly could witness the iconic induction.
There's obviously a lot of jockeying back and forth as to who might get elected. So I think that's why it's closed session.
Many people had to wait outside closed doors. But the final decisions made here tonight will affect everyone. I'm Kimberly Ivany for Madang Live.
Workshops are an integral part of the Assembly. They give delegates an opportunity to talk about different ideas. There are workshops on climate justice, interreligious dialogue, the rights of the indigenous people, and many others. These workshops often generate ideas that inform the work of the WCC around the world.
The variety of such workshops enable people to always have something to go to and make a contribution or otherwise listen to what is going on.
So we have workshops coming from Pacific, from Latin America, from Africa, from Europe, etc. And the beautiful thing about these workshops is that they span the whole range of the church's concerns in their daily ministry.
Youth for Water is a group that advocates for clean water for all. They had a workshop in the Madang Hall yesterday. Here are some pictures from that.
We need to have religious leadership very committed towards water justice. It has to be articulated, it has to be inclusive, it has to be fair and just to include all peoples in the world, especially those who are without a voice.
It is also Unity Plenary Day for the Assembly today. What you are seeing now are pictures of the final rehearsal for the plenary. We talked to some delegates before the plenary.
We're 30 minutes from the Unity Plenary today, and the stewards are preparing the room. We're trying to start distribution of headsets and prepare the technical stuff. Everything is in order. The rehearsal went very well. The Unity Plenary will be a moment of contemplative reflection on unity.
It's exciting to see the plenary come together after working with the Unity Statement and seeing how that's been received at the Assembly. So yeah, it'll be really good to share.
I think one of the things that makes this exciting for me is that it's going to be in a very prayerful context. It's not going to be like a presentation or a show so much. very challenging. But I think that it's also it's challenging to achieve, but not challenging to challenge people too.
We have received great feedback from all over the world about Madang Live. One of the segments you seem to enjoy the most is our features section. In our first feature, Anam Gil and delegates to the assembly visited the bridge that divides North and South Korea. Anam has the report.
We are in Paju at Imjinggak, and this is actually a representative unification and security tourist spot. And as you can see that this bridge was connecting North and South Korea, but now there is a wall.
Borders and boundaries. While they divide.
It is all politicized.
Still separate people from each other.
I truly believe they shouldn't exist.
I was very struck by an image that to me spoke so much. And it was the image of geese flying. And the geese, they go back and forth to the north and the south, and they don't stop on the border. They're God's creatures and they are free.
It's part of the history of my family, what happened in the division between North and South Korea. So we never heard anything or just like strange news about my father's family. So for me, this is very, personally, this experience is very strong, it's very striking.
So barbed wire, which is another way, shows that how many people are living in prisons. It is easier for me to come to South Korea, have a sleep overnight in Busan or Seoul, rather than just to go to my country, Jerusalem, which is next door, 5 miles away only from that.
North and South Korea were always one nation, just as India, Pakistan and Bangladesh were one nation. And it has, again, it's a totally political issue. People within the countries, both the countries, do not want any divisions.
Absolutely, we are one people and we share one culture and we use the same languages together.
I hope South Korea and North Korea unite as soon as possible in peaceful.
We also received this report from friends at Getty. Getty is a program for young theologians. Here now is the report.
Renewing and revitalizing the global ecumenical movement has to do with bringing together the younger generation of ecumenical leaders today. This is the vision behind Getty, to do a deliberate step for leadership formation in global Christianity, to prepare ourselves for what the churches are called to look like in the 21st century.
In this institute, the idea is to bring in all different theologians from different walks of life, different traditions, different countries, different Christian traditions to meet at one point, which is very rare actually. They meet, of course, they have different discussions of various issues that matters at the moment in the world. In this way they shape the theology of the entire church in a uniform way.
만방을 내려보시고 살피시니 아무도 머리들어 반역하지 못하리라. 민족들아.
One of the things that I realized is the mission work that the Korean churches have done in this perspective, because every single church we went, you know, I'm used to having, for example, going to a church in a major city and we use an international language, for example. every single church we went to was using Korean language, the language of the people, meaning everybody, be they junior, be they senior, be they of a higher or lower social status, they understood everything that was going on. There were so many people in the churches of Korea. I have never seen this. This is a new experience. So many people in the church and the faith they have in the church. Unbelievable. I have not seen this somewhere else. I heard about it, but in reality, just seeing it, it just wowed me.
Great stories. Time now for our interview segment. The General Secretary of the World Council of Churches found time in his busy schedule to talk with us. We took him on a tour of the Madang Hall. Let's take a look at the story. So what difference do you think it will have made that over 7,000 people came here in one place? I mean, where would people be able to see the difference that the WCC has made in this assembly?
I think this is a place and also a gathering that sets the agenda for how churches speak and talk in the next years. Okay. There's a lot of power of definition in an assembly like this. What is important here, I think also will be important for the churches.
So you think the processes and the relationships will kind of garner a kind of new direction going forward for the ecumenical movement?
I mean, that is the experiences from earlier assemblies. This has some new dimensions, for example, that there is a unique and enormous network of communication among those who are here and others who are not here.
Speaking of
they already know what's going on, maybe before I do.
Well, speaking of past assemblies, we're approaching the exhibits since 1948, since Amsterdam. So how are we different today than we were, say, 1948 or 54? I mean, what's changed and what are the issues that are maybe different from then or the same?
How many women do you see on this
I see
picture?
0. I don't see myself there. I don't see myself.
I think that has changed significantly.
Yeah.
How many youth do we see? We have developed a new understanding of what it means to be church together, but also what does it mean to lead the churches together. I'm also very grateful for the church leaders that are here. I think that is a very important continuation, that church leaders actually come here and find that this is a place for them to meet, but also for inspiration. And if they believe in this fellowship, then also that's giving us hope.
But there are also issues, are there not, Olav, that are similar to 1948 when the World War II was breaking out and matters of justice and peace were emerging around Europe. Do you see some comparisons there that we should be thinking about over the years, those threads?
When you look at this, you would see that there is a very, I would say, a very strong stream of justice rolling through this and work for peace. When we have the theme, lead us to justice and peace, it is not as if we haven't prayed that before.
Right.
But we have to ask, continue to lead us to justice and peace. When we look at the assemblies that we have had and the outcome of them and how the WCC has developed, we have seen this has really meant something for the churches, for ordinary people's life and how the churches are involved in that. To overcome racism, to overcome other types of discrimination, and we have to continue. We have to continue this work. It is not done forever.
Right. So say a little bit about anything that we haven't discussed yet that you think is important for our listening and viewing audience to know about. What is important to you?
Well, we have, for example, a discussion here about climate change. And we have had one discussion for some years now about economic justice. I think we now need to see how these two discussions actually belong together as well. Another issue, we realize that we are struggling with different understandings of how human beings should live together in families, in relationships. There are cultural differences, there are also differences in how we read our biblical texts. Events like this help us to see, okay, there are some others here who have other opinions, but also others who have totally different experiences and who are still belonging to our fellowship, and we have to find the ways to talk about these things together and also talk properly about it.
Olav, thank you very much for this time. All the best in your leadership. We give thanks to God for who you are and what you bring to the occasion of leadership.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is it for today. The assembly is halfway finished. There are some great exhibits here in the Madang Hall. If you have time to come by, we would love to welcome you. That's it for now. See you the next time.